You're listening to the New Old Heads podcast, shot live every Tuesday at twitch.tv/newoldheads and released every Thursday at noon via bringingdowntheband.com. The show is brought to you by Coleman Dental, Indie CD and Vinyl. Support the show directly by becoming a member at patreon.com/newoldheads.
Yes, y'all, to the beach, y'all. You know what it is. New Old Heads are in the building for another episode. You know, I'm glad that I'm able to fill in for Big Shoes today. My man Major 7th is out handling grown man business, so I'm sitting in kind of in his place. But, you know, the only thing I can do to righteously honor him and get down like how he gets down is ask my other contestants, panel members how they're doing. Jay Diff, how you feeling, man?
Salutations, I am well.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
All right, we're going to keep it short today. And, you know, of course, we got my man Lonegevity, who is in the building handling all our technical difficulties to start the show.
yeah, we're good. I'm doing all right, though. Yeah.
Okay, and my man all blued out, you know, special guest, just a guest at this point, you know, because he holds it down for us on a regular basis. Shout out to my man, brother, tonight. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm here to piss a couple people off today.
Oh, boy. Well, that's what we do every week.
Par for the course.
So it's par for the course. Definitely par for the course.
Yes, indeed.
We're going to start off today with a follow-up to what we talked about last week, which was the anonymous woman who is accusing Jay-Z of...
Anonymous woman, get away from me.
Let's watch this little thing here where there's an interview. This woman sat down with NBC News, and there's a lot of inconsistencies, I guess, if you will, with her story. And apparently she's acknowledged them as well. But let's watch this and then talk about it.
What made you want to come forward? Because I think that I've been quiet long enough.
She says that she went to the MTV Video Music Awards in 2000. Says she spoke to Combs' limo driver, who offered her a ride to an after party. She says at the party she spoke to musician Benji Madden and his brother.
Talking to Benji Madden about his tattoo, that's the Last Supper.
In a statement to NBC News, a representative for the Maddens confirmed that they did not attend the 2000 VMAs and that they were on tour in the Midwest at that time. At the after party, she says she had a drink that made her feel woozy. Then she says Combs and Carter both her. She says she ran to a gas station where she called her father, who picked her up.
We rode home in silence. She didn't ask me what happened.
Her father said he could not verify the claims. I feel like I would remember that, and I don't, he said. I have made some mistakes, she said, in remembering what happened 24 years ago. Honestly, what is the clearest is what happened to me.
I don't know why it was so fast, but hey, we got through that real quick.
You know, we started late, so we got to
make up some time.
Right.
We pretty much covered this in 10. I really just kind of wanted to bring this back up because it was really kind of confirmed what you were talking about last week, Terry. You know, and
it's literally unfolding right in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, her story, I don't know if y'all seen that whole excerpt or interview that she did. Like, she brought up Benji Madden or whatnot, and they're saying that they were on tour in the Midwest.
Yeah.
They also brought up another thing about her watching the show on a Jumbotron outside. MTV stated they didn't have any licensing to have any Jumbotrons outside for any videos to be playing outside the venue.
Right.
They've even went on to say that Jay-Z and Puff were at two different parties.
Yep, I saw that too.
The time frame that she spoke of is all within like 37 minutes. So gets to the house, she has a drink, she gets in the room, the essay happens, and then she runs through this party with no clothes on, essentially, to a gas station. So it was funny to me. So, like, if you're at a party house, how close do you think a gas station going to be to that home?
You know, I thought about that.
For you to run to this gas station and then call your dad, who lives 5 hours away.
Yeah.
So your dad drove 5 hours to drop you off at this?
Dad said he doesn't
pick
know
her
she's
up.
talking about it.
So, like, and then drove home in silence. So imagine you
for 5
driving.
hours.
That's not happening in a black
And then
house.
you get in my house butt naked. You get in my car butt naked.
Listen,
from a sexual assault.
I don't think I think she had on her clothes, but this is not happening in a black house.
No,
this is not happening. There's no way that a family member is coming to pick me up from the mall where I got stranded at, and we're not having a conversation about that all the way home. And then the rest of my weekend is cashed. No video games, no whatever. And you just had a 5-hour ride with
Like
your
that.
dad that he didn't say one word to you, and he don't even remember it.
I can only speak from part of the white delegation, but that wouldn't fly in my household either. No, that's there. I mean, all the inconsistencies that last week we were kind of careful about just because we didn't know.
Yeah.
This interview revealed just that a lot of it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Doesn't make any sense.
So
it's so wild because, and I hate to see this, it's so weird how the public just criminalizes everybody that they don't like. So even with this happening or this coming out, there's people still saying, well, he paid her off or he knew who it was. Do y'all not understand what a Jane Doe means? That was part of his filing, was trying to figure out, I need to know who this is that's got these charges against me. But there's people online saying they know who the accused is or the accuser is. So how do you know who the accuser is, but he doesn't know who it is?
Right.
These are just random people online.
And if you knew, about these things, why didn't you say anything?
Well, maybe he doesn't know because he has so many essays.
Is that the justification? Is that you going down the Jaguar right?
Hey, she's getting sued, right?
Yeah, he's trying to sue her next because and people have been calling for it. They've been like, why hasn't anybody sued Jaguar Wright? The problem with, or I wouldn't say the problem, but I think the issue with Jaguar Wright is a lot of them just figure she's back crazy and they don't care what she says any way. And at this point, when it comes to, this is a serious allegation.
Yeah.
So even Dame, he was like, usually when something happens to Jay, he don't say nothing. He's quiet about it. But if somebody is saying that you essayed them or whatnot and being a minor, come on, man. Yeah. I'm not letting that, I'm going to feel a certain type of way about that too. So that's why he's guns blazing. I said that he's going to have this done before the Super Bowl. It's probably going to be done before next week.
Yeah.
Look, let me tell you something. Because Roger Goodell came out and said that these allegations are not going to affect our relationship with Jay-Z and him producing the Super Bowl. And let me tell you something. There's a group, NFL Security, and they are basically like, they might as well be the commando group of not only lawyers, but people who, they got, if there's a tape of something, they get the tape before anybody. And for them to come out and make that statement, is like they have to
ironclad.
They have to have already done their due diligence, because the NFL will distance itself from something that they think is going to get a little bit of stain on them and mess. And they don't play that messing with the money. I think
unless you're a certain quarterback in
messing with the money
in the play
Pittsburgh.
For the
yeah,
wasn't no tape though.
See, the thing is, if you're going to accuse somebody of something and maybe hope it just goes away with the check, you need to stay away from certain specifics. Like when you say, well, like I saw this person there and that person was like, no, we were in Omaha or whatever. Like, why would you even include that in your statement? Like, because you could be vague when you accuse celebrities of things.
Chill.
Because people just like to accuse and cast a level of doubt and throw dirt on celebrities' names. You don't have to be so specific.
Yeah.
And like you said, I didn't even think about the thing. It was like, okay, I'm at a house in the hills somewhere.
Yeah.
It has a circular driveway. How am I going to get to a gas station? I can't run to a gas station from here.
Like Tina Turner did.
Actually, there is one very close.
What's love got to do with it?
But I don't know that because I live kind of in this area, but I wouldn't be able to just like from memory. And you're talking about I'm woozy, and and the thing is, like, if you're 13 years old, probably it wouldn't take nothing more than Mike's Hard Lemonade or something, especially if you're not messing with the liquor like that. But like I said, you want to give alleged victims, their time and their due, but you have to also, if you are someone who is being accused of something, and you can start poking holes very easily in your accuser's story, then it's looking like this is only going to get worse. If anything, this might mess around and help Sean Combs a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. With this being said on this case and this being one of the accusers of him,
and it's the same lawyer.
It's the same lawyer.
So that's one of the questions I was going to pose. Is like, what impact will this case have, if any, on future allegations and such like that?
To me, it makes it seem like this attorney has fabricated a lot of cases. I mean, because there's well over 100 cases on Sean Diddy Combs right now.
I saw in the article that Mike.
All he needs is one, though.
All he needs is one.
He's got that one.
Yeah, I saw in the article that Mike shared with this that it said that Tony Busby was going to be reviewing this further to check for inconsistencies or something like that too.
Until
now?
After the
hold
filing.
on, let me make sure that I'm reading this correctly. So this is an article by AP. I'll look up this while I ask the other question, which is, do you think Jay-Z should go all out and make an example of this person?
Yes.
Yes.
honestly, I don't think she has anything to give, but
So,
the only thing he can do is pretty much hopefully this inspires some fire music.
whatever you have, give it to me.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. I mean, this is Jay-Z married to Beyonce, Jay-Z. Blue Ivy Carter, Jay-Z. Come on. I mean, your whole family's crazy rich. There's nothing he can do monetarily to this individual other than hopefully be inspired to give us something.
Well, you know what the
And I
thing
ain't
is.
sound selfish.
I mean, says he still decides to sue. Just be like, look, we're not doing. I have enough money to where, yeah, if I win a judgment against this woman and I wind up taking her house and her Nissan Altima, like, it might teach some people lessons. Like, you just don't come after celebrities because you have nothing better to do.
Or what he need to do is actually just sue the attorney for his license, essentially. Because for you to have that type of claim against me and want to puff your chest out like, nah, I'm coming for you, and it all just crumbles right in front of you, I would go after him, man. Let me get that license.
So he said Busby told the Associated in an email that if someone raises a new issue which didn't previously exist, his legal team's job is to continue collecting facts and evidence.
So you didn't do your due diligence before you made this public knowledge. And now I have to pay for it. So now you have to pay me.
Yeah. Sounds about right to me. I don't know. Do you think this will make Jay look better, worse, or the same?
I don't think it does anything to his reputation.
No.
I think the same.
Other than the court of public opinion. Otherwise, I mean, because like I said, like if you get on Facebook, there's people or Instagram, whatever this, that are still saying, well, he was hanging around Puffy and he's got to be guilty of something. Like, why are you trying to make somebody guilty of something?
Yeah,
based on
because you don't like him.
Yeah, because you don't like him. He said
you don't have
that.
Nothing.
Well, the attorney came in and said too that his and Diddy's relationship is pretty much strictly professional.
Well,
saying that they wasn't really friends like that.
There's reason for speculation, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, there's some questionable things there. You know what I mean? But at the same time, none of my business. He married her.
Right.
It is what it is. They have a loving family. You know what I mean? Your granddaddy and your grandpa and your grandmama, they had the exact same relationship. You know what I mean? So chill out, man. Stall the man out.
What do you say? He had a line that said 21 and older.
Let another motor. Yeah.
He pretty much was letting you know he was at least waiting until they was 21.
Yeah, and then he said the other one, not quite 18.
On what one though? The for real joint?
Yeah.
But then someone, I don't know why this went around, but then there was just some singer from the 80s. It's like, she's only 16 years old.
There's a lot of stuff back there.
Hell, Music Soul Child got that's a whole song called 17.
The song is called 17.
Yeah. My favorite is Winger. It's like, he said he's only 17. Her daddy says she's too young, but she's old enough for me.
Oh, God.
This was on MTV in heavy rotation. Yeah.
Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre's Missionary album has dropped. It is the 20th studio album by American rapper Snoop Dogg, again produced by Dr. Dre. Complex shot a behind-the-scene video of Snoop and Dre working on parts of the album, and Snoop talks about how nobody produces like Dre. So let's watch this and then let's talk about the album a little bit. I got a couple questions.
Take it deeper. Built a legacy that you can't replace.
Okay. Let's take it deeper. Built a legacy that
you can't replace.
Okay.
Snoop's thing is his voice, his charisma, the way he puts words together.
Built a legacy that you can't replace.
Just need a better take.
I had to figure out a way to orchestrate that.
Back cooking up ether. Riding around with
Back cooking up ether.
Back cooking up ether.
Yeah, give me that.
With the season.
From how I say it to what I say to the way I say it to the projection of your vocals.
That wasn't it? The season.
No, you got to come back and say this word like this because your energy wasn't right.
Doing backflips.
I didn't believe you.
Okay.
I got you.
I used to say that all the time.
17 with a dream blowing smoke in the air.
I like that.
It's a major amount of trust going on both sides.
That's why I chose to work with him, because when I work with other producers, they get close, but they can't do what he do.
Has everybody here listened to the project?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I'll speak for me. Yes, I have listened to the project.
I give it one stream. General questions is, how does it sound? Is this project a disappointment? Is it not a disappointment? Is it great? It's just general thoughts here.
And then let Byron get his thoughts off his chest because he been eager to talk about this. So.
All right, tell me.
All right, so let me start off by showing love. You know what I mean? Dr. Dre is a legend. You know what I mean? Snoop is a legend. I'm glad I did come in here Friday. Or
like fresh off a listen.
Yeah,
because you was ready to go on Friday.
Oh yeah, but I gave it a couple more spins, man, and I've toned down my opinion initially. First time I heard it, I was like, no. I'm sorry. Then I went back and listened to it a couple times, and there's some stuff on the album. You know what I mean? It's a disappointment to me though. This is the third time in a row that Dre is disappointing me.
Okay, so
twice this year.
Twice this year.
You talking about the Marsha Ambrosius album?
Yes. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then Compton.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I like Compton.
Yeah,
Compton
cool.
sounded overproduced to me.
I like Compton though. Compton was fire to me.
It was okay, but
yeah, it's just okay. It's not what I expect from Dre, and I felt that same thing about here. When I first and foremost, when I heard that they were naming the album Missionary, I'm expecting greatness. You know what I mean? Just because doggy style. Yeah. I'm like, okay, they're going to give me something. They did give me something new. But is it on par with doggy style?
No.
Nothing
it actually fits the title Missionary, because if you talk about basics, then doggy style, the predecessor was raw and uncut. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
you could have raw, nasty Missionary too.
You can, but it always ends up going to doggy style.
Anyways.
So there's that, man.
I mean, I listened to it today. It started off pretty good. Like, I liked it initially, but the more songs that played, the more I saw that I was like kind of like ready to skip to the next one. Sounds very clean. Kind of sounded a bit dated in the sense that, like, I liked a lot of the production, but some of it I also didn't like. It also felt like it was playing on the idea of like trying to make a record that hits all the bases, like covers all the bases, like the standard record label industry album. Like, oh, I need one of these. I need one of these.
A weed song.
I need one of these.
Song.
Yeah. I don't think he needed to do that. I kind of wanted it to be a little bit more raw, and it was just kind of bland to me, I guess. So
yeah, I thought
I didn't hate it though. I didn't hate it though.
I thought it was all right. It's kind of hard though, especially being a West Coast album coming off of that Kendrick. Kendrick has kind of dominated at least my stereo for the past 3 weeks now, 3-4 weeks.
I'll give you that, but I don't think that would adjust my opinion.
I wouldn't either, but I don't know. West Coast, in the past month, you've had Ice Cube, Absol, you've had Kendrick, and you've had Snoop and Dre, which was a very anticipated album. It's not a bad album, but it doesn't sound rushed. It's very clean. It has a lot of features on it. The playing time isn't very long. It's one of them things when you hear a Dr. Dre and Snoop album, we're the people that get excited about that type of stuff because we're used to.
We were there.
We were there when they were making magic at the beginning and kind of expecting more out of it than what it is. I don't think they really sold it like it was about to be this amazing project. I think it was just something that they wanted to do. And to me, it's not a bad project. Like, I think it has 16 tracks on it.
Yeah.
There is a good handful of joints on there that I'm cool with. There is another handful that I could do without.
Yeah.
But as far as production, level of production, Dre is he's still Dre. So it's like it's the same style of Dre. There's not a
as Mike would say, there's not an updated kit there.
There's not an updated kit, but his kit is very good. But in the same token, right now it's like I kind of want to hear something a little different. From you. You know,
and that was kind of my criticism with Compton a little bit too. Like, I liked Compton for the most part. I like Missionary for the most part. Like, I don't hate it, but
it's not a bad album.
It's not bad, no. But at the same time, it didn't like impress me. I wasn't like, ooh, it wasn't that.
Yes,
yeah.
Do you think that's because we just hold Dre and the combination of Dre and Snoop in such high regard?
Yes.
To a degree.
You know, if they weren't Snoop and Dre as we know them, and we came in from the multiverse not knowing, we weren't there outside when these initial legendary albums hit, and we heard this, do you think that we'd have a different opinion?
I would say yes, probably. If they were just two random people, then yes, this is a pretty decent project for two random people. But at the same time, like, Tyler's project was way better than this.
Oh, I forgot to mention his West Coast.
Yeah.
You know, like, there have been many albums that came out that were they sounded a lot more closer to what's working right now, but also not from like what's hot standpoint, but just like the stuff that's really good right now, like updated version of it. And it just doesn't. It just it sounded just a little bit old.
See, I think this is the perfect way for me to sum it up. Prior to Compton, when I hear Dr. Dre project and his name associated with a project, I'm expecting that project to be on the cutting edge.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Something new and innovative.
Yeah.
Something that I'm not getting from nobody else.
He was the standard at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And everything I've heard from to this point since then, it hasn't been that.
I think that's probably part because of the cult, or not the cult, but the allure of Dre, holding back on Detox for so long and just like not really dropping anything. Like he was kind of associated with obviously 50 Cent's record, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But like he was just kind of like this mythical creature for like over a decade. And then when he dropped Compton, like it was good to me.
And that was almost a
compilation.
Surprise release though, because we didn't know that was going to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like when it came out, it wasn't like when Detox was ready to drop, when that hype was at that was like going to be the thing, like we were waiting for Detox because it was going to be the next great, like that was the standard. And then it just kind of held there. And I think it's just, I don't know if I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
And the thing is, like, we've heard, at this point, we probably heard what was going to be on Detox through everyone.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Because I remember when Jake 1 was here in Indianapolis, and one of the questions I got to ask him is Detox coming? And he's like, hey, I submitted this for it,
Yeah.
So, yeah, from in my eyes, yeah, it's coming. But I think when we heard, what was it, 16 with Andre 3000, and that's probably the record that
I don't think, was that?
Jake, I think that's the one. Didn't Jake? That was Jake 1, right?
No, Three Kings was.
Three Kings. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, that was probably
that record. Yeah,
that was probably the one that was supposed to be on Detox. If I a lot of the stuff that we heard on 50 Cent's first album, those were records that were probably for Detox.
The Game's first album too
was probably for Detox. Like so, we can add all that together and say, yeah, we got Detox. We just got it through like 8 different albums.
But I will say, with that being said, though, I don't feel like Dre has had the pressure on him that would maybe force him to create cutting edge stuff. And I just don't, when I hear his stuff now, like he's not the leader in that anymore. Like maybe from a sound wise, I mean, he always gets the praise from the cleanliness of everything and how it sounds. Yeah, from that aspect. But like musically, like it was good. There were definitely some highlights on there that I thought was super dope. But there were other records I was like, this sounds like Detox. Like this sounds like it could have came out in 2006.
Yeah.
And then there are a few records like that. So I don't know. I mean, I know we're being critical of it, but we're also being critical of it because, to your point, Jay, like they are held to a super high standard.
And I'm not even. And the thing is, what it does not sound like is a record made by 2 50-year-old grandfathers.
True.
Yeah, I will not, because sometimes you can just hear the age on, when some of our heroes pop back out and do something, you're like,
hear the rust.
Yeah, and I don't hear, especially in Snoop's voice.
Yeah,
like there are parts where I'm hearing Snoop Doggy Dog.
Yeah,
Method Man shine on there too.
Yeah, he did his thing. But and one of my criticisms, and once again, who am I to A&R a Snoop and Dr. Dre record, is like, hey man,
the person that purchases it.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Or streamed it, whatever. Yeah. I took time out of my day to listen.
Exactly.
I gave you my 45 to 50 minutes.
These are just opinions.
Hey, man, I would have loved, Warren G and Rage and Corrupt. These people
right there.
are still around. Like I understand it. RBX, you could have had him on the intro, something.
Yeah,
Jordan.
They dropped that song earlier this year when it was Dog Pound with Lady of Rage, RBX, and somebody else, and that song was fire.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been a nice, when you talk about, okay, you're trying to do something new, but also, establish like, hey, don't forget what we did and who we are. It would have been a nice moment to hear, at least some of that original Death Row roster on this record. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I would have taken that over that 50 and Eminem record.
I don't know what was going on with 50's verse on that.
Yeah,
it was weird to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just I haven't heard 50 rap in so long, but I didn't think it was him.
I don't think you heard 50 rap.
Is that what it is?
I think you heard just like most of this project.
You mean like somebody else?
Yeah.
I had to literally get up from where I was sitting and walk over to my computer and look, is this 50 Cent? And then I was like, wow, that does.
All right, so this is my opinion. I've heard over the last 10 years, I've heard better projects probably from Snoop and another producer than I've heard, but from him and Dre in this project, man. And that was made me a little bit sad about it. I was like, man, it's like at this point, man, I'd rather hear Snoop and Pharrell than Snoop and Dre.
I don't know if Pharrell would be the one I would choose, but
Pharrell and the Neptunes.
Yeah, only reason so Rhythm and Gangsta, love that album.
That was cold.
Yeah, I even like Bush.
California Roll was my joint.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's like,
and who were the producers on these ones?
I think that was all Pharrell.
Yeah, that was all
Pharrell and Neptunes. Yeah.
Nah, it was other producers. I went back and spun it back today because I had a really blasphemous take it first beforehand. I had to go back and listen to the project first. I was like, all right, I'm tripping.
Yeah, he was about to like when he came into work on Friday. When I was like, I thought it was better than that.
Yeah. Blue carpet treatment. Yeah, Snoop has had some really great albums.
Look,
man.
I really like 12 Days of Funk with Dame Funk.
That's fire. Yeah.
It's like not, Yeah, I think that's super dope.
His reggae album was dope.
Yeah,
I never listened to that. That's my fault. I never gave it.
He's just like he's a super talented, and I think that
his gospel album was dope.
His gospel album was fire.
Yeah,
I think that even on this project, like I know we're being critical, but like it was still a pretty decent project.
Yeah,
but I just felt like I wanted a little bit more from it.
Yeah, I think that's our fault though, man. Because honestly, these two dudes, we talking about Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre.
Yeah, Snoop
Dogg actually owns Death Row Records now.
Yeah,
Dr. Dre is not hurting for any money. He's in the Billionaire Boys Club. This is probably just something they just wanted to do. They felt like they wanted to connect. You own Death Row now. Let's do something,
Hey, and I'm with it. That's cool.
I'm cool with that. I think, again, I'm just happy they still doing it and they ain't retired.
I'm going to say this. At the end of the day, I know I've been super critical of the project, et cetera, but thank you for giving us something new, man. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, because you didn't have to do it. You could have sat it in your vault and we'd have never heard it, just like some of the records did. It's been for Detox. So at the end of the day, I'm appreciative for you at least releasing your art to allow it to be critiqued.
It wasn't whack,
And there's a lot of cool collaborations on there, a lot of writing credits and stuff that I've seen. So I mean that's cool.
Jelly Roll having a good year. He was featured on there.
Yeah, Tom Petty, yeah.
Sting sounded good on there.
Sting was on there.
Janaea Cole, BJ the Chicago Kid set it off.
I like the BJ Chicago Kid song.
Yeah, I like the second one.
The second one.
Yeah, he's on there a couple times. But yes, I thought
the Method Man thing was straight.
Yeah,
there was a couple of beat flips in the album that I was like, now the first part I wasn't really messing with, but when the beat switched, okay.
Do you guys think the project was overproduced?
Very much so.
I just think
but you're gonna get that from him.
Yeah, it's Dre. I think it's very clean and crisp.
To a fault.
Yeah, I mean that's his Achilles heel though. That's probably why he doesn't drop a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
because he wants it to sound so well and polished that he holds on to it based on his own producer ear, that he doesn't want everybody else to hear it.
Like it's almost, do I need a new pair of Beats by Dre? Well, he don't even own it anymore, I don't think. But
they weren't that great of headphones anyway, sound-wise.
But
they're bass heavy.
Yeah, I do remember the first time I got a hold of something, I was like, okay, the lows are low. But I just listened to it. I was like, I almost felt like I needed to listen to it on a nicer sound system than, streaming, running the Bluetooth connection, in my Ford. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow. And maybe I need a sound cabin, to go ahead and run, to run this through. And I almost have to have Dre, like when
EQ your stuff.
Yeah, remember when you had the EQ, you might have ran it through. This from the cats in old school had a Winamp. You listen to your MP3s, and you could adjust that EQ. Or maybe if you was doing it like that, you might have had a equalizer in your car or on your head. Yeah.
Doesn't that kick the llama's ass?
Yes, that's exactly what that does.
Winamp. It really whips the llama's ass.
Or you might have had a rack mount that had its own EQ. I don't know, man.
Back in the 70s,
Yeah, so, I mean, back in my era. But, yeah, I mean, it almost feels like there's a different preset that you need, when it says on whatever, classical, rock, vocal, there needs to be Dr. Dre.
again, I just wanted it to sound a little bit raw, but again, that's just the selfishness in me. So
I also literally created the sound precedent when Chronic 2001 came out. Like he made everything change from that point. When that album came out, everybody else had to kind of polish their sound a little bit better because nothing sounded like that did, as crispy as it was.
I think that's the way it is with everything, though, because the same thing happened when the Chronic dropped.
Yeah, because honestly, it was just for a record with all the vocals and the samples. It was as clean as a Michael Jackson record. It was the first rap record you heard that was probably as clean as a Michael Jackson record.
Yeah, and I also want to give shine to like the cabinet of producers that work with Dr. Dre, man, that have over the years. You know what I mean? Like Focus, Hitman, yeah, DJ Khalil. All them cats out west,
Scott
man.
Storch.
Yeah, you know what I mean? He's got a pool. And I'm pretty sure that there was, Fred Wreck.
I forgot about Fred Wreck.
Denon Porter for a minute.
Yeah.
I think High Tech even.
That's who sound I'm missing.
Yeah.
That's who I need. I think the world needs some
more High Tech.
Some more High Tech, man. The other day I was just listening to the G Unit intro.
You know my favorite High Tech, one of my favorite. Get In My Car by 50 Cent.
Yes, sir.
I don't like the content of that song.
I do.
I was like, even, in my 20s, I was like, but that beat.
Yeah. Yeah, the world needs Mr. Cincinnati.
Yeah.
The world needs you.
Midwest makes the world go around musically.
Very
There
much
you go.
so.
There was an interview that just recently came out with the company man. Shouts to the company man, Justin Hunt, friend of the show. It's kind of cool to say, where he interviewed Jason Martin, who is formerly known as Problem, if you remember Problem, the rapper. It was kind of a wild interview. They covered all sorts of stuff about dogs. It was
the West Coast.
It was pretty wild. But in their long conversation, Justin asked a great question about when numbers became the deciding factor for most people on how great an album was. And so I want to play this particular clip and kind of talk about that a little bit.
Was the moment that people started basing how good an album is on how well it charted.
I can pinpoint 2 times when the IG, Twitter, DSP thing started making more sense to everybody, 2015, 2016. Or I can correlate it to when Jay-Z said, women lie, men lie, numbers don't. That was the turning point. Because now everybody was like, well, Jay-Z said the numbers. But we got to think Jay-Z's an incredible MC, incredible artist. Hands down, if Jay says it, it makes sense because he's one of the most incredible artists of all time. But that's when I think people start saying men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Numbers don't. Numbers been lying for years now, though.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Facts.
So yeah, any thoughts on that? Do you agree with him or disagree? Or
was he lifting weights in the gym or something, in the studio or something? Because why he got that weightlifting glove on, man?
I noticed it. I noticed it.
What is it?
Maybe it's a fashion thing. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
This is the thing. When we used to talk about Jay-Z set so many precedents when it comes to the culture. So I definitely agree with him on when Jay-Z said that. That's when people paid a lot of attention to numbers. Because Jay-Z said in rhymes, even before he said the numbers lie, well, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Talking about what type of artist he would be if that mattered. If the lyrics mattered lyrically, I'd be Talib Kweli. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That kind of goes back to the men lie, women lie, numbers don't. He went the numbers path because that was his I wouldn't say easy, but he figured out that formula for success and just doubled down on it. So I agree with him on that one.
I could point out several other instances. 50 reading off SoundScan numbers on Hot 97.
I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah, I remember. That was a moment.
The Ye and 50.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Thing about who sold the most records. I think that was the real turning point right there.
Yeah. That I definitely remember that moment because that was a big.
50 said, "If he outsells me, I will quit rapping."
Yeah.
He didn't quit.
No, he didn't. He just started making movies. Yeah. Those are 2 pivotal moments for me, aside from the ones that he mentioned.
Yeah.
I can take it back.
Okay.
That's what I do. It was when, because once again, the SoundScan thing goes back to the early 90s. And it's when NWA in their second album entered the Billboard chart at like number 1. And there would have been some backdoor tricks, if you will, to put, someone like Paul Abdul or somebody of that ilk at number one, just for the say it was the number one album. Here is NWA, who released that album with no single, no video. The videos didn't come until, Always Into Something and Appetite for Destruction. That came well after the album was released. And as somebody who was just a hip hop nerd, even then, I didn't know NWA. I knew because they had put out 100 Miles and Running, so I knew something was coming, but I didn't know when.
That was like an EP.
Yeah, but the full album came out as number one, and it was like there was a time when they, like I said, they could really fool with the numbers and put who they wanted at number one. When SoundScan came, what was that? What was number one was what was when the albums were scanned. Now, once again, there's some foolishness that can go on with that too. But like, there's no way the industry would have picked NWA's second album, especially considering what it's called. And when
for life.
There you go. I'll let you do.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Or Eiffel lagging.
Yeah, because it was on there, backwards.
Yeah.
They were not going to pick that album to be number one and say, okay, this, because then all of a sudden, this is when rap albums started showing up at number one, because there was always something that kept rap albums from being number one. They would always, it would always be some pop group or some this, that, and the third, So that's when SoundScan took away all the tricks. So if the people wanted NWA, I remember when Ice Cube's album came in at number one. Probably previous album should have came in at number one. But when SoundScan took all the tricks away, the same way that BDS took the tricks away, like you couldn't just, if you're a program director, you couldn't just say, yeah, we played this 47 times this week. SoundScan picked up if you actually played the song 47 times. That's when the numbers became something that were like really something people looked at as a measure of success. Because I don't know what Midnight Marauders or Low End Theory sold its first week. We didn't care.
No, we was just going off the numbers. We was going off the numbers in the Jet magazine, saying who was one and two and who was number three,
or what was hot, what we were talking about. But then once it got to a point where like it's really not a game, what you scan that first week is really what the people think about you.
And then right after that, too, to your point, well, not right after that, but leading up or further down the line when Jay started talking about who moved more units than him, Pimp Juice, and
us,
him. You know what I'm saying? So
and he's number three in that pecking order.
Yeah, they were literally shipping out platinum to the stores for that weekend. So they had garnered that I'm gonna go platinum in 2 days. So y'all can go ahead and send my plaque based off of them numbers. And it was just like, so the big thing was to go platinum immediately. In early 2000s? Was that what it was? Yeah, early 2000s.
It was always, I remember the Most Def, the first Black on Both Sides album, and it said in the advertisement, shipping gold.
Yeah.
That just meant there was 500,000 at the store.
I see.
And so I saw an interview with Young MC, which was actually, someone from that era who wrote those songs and did what he did. It was actually really interesting. And he said, look, had my song been out in the SoundScan era, Bust a Move would have definitely been number one. You know what I'm saying? But there was, Delicious Vinyl was an independent label. So what we scanned didn't always figure out to, but when I saw what we sold and the amount of time we sold it, we were beating everybody. But it just was a thing where like everything was still done on spreadsheets and sent in through fax machines. And so like the information moves slower. So, and once again, we're a smaller label. We don't have a certain level of influence. So once the SoundScan era started, that's when people started really looking at what are the first, you didn't hear about the first week numbers of, Nation of Millions.
Well, you didn't even care. That's the whole thing. Like it's almost like the credibility went to just the numbers versus the quality of the project. Like you talked about Tribe Called Quest. Everybody knows how many people Tribe Called Quest influenced as far as musically. But when you talk about them, you don't talk about how many records they sold. You talk about the musical impact that they had. A lot of the success just went to how many am I selling? I'm popular now. A lot of the hip hop became popular music. You know what I'm saying?
So that's kind of what I was going to ask. I was like, so I think you articulated that great about when that potentially actually happened. But is that also the same time that the people grasped on that were fans of hip hop that also made that switch, or did that come later?
I think what really the week it really hit is when it was like that month or a couple weeks where it was like Lauryn Hill came out, and then Jay-Z came out, and Outkast came out, and then Corrupt came out. And then that's when everybody really started looking, was that 98?
Mm-hmm.
And then like all of a sudden it's like, who fell in what position? And then I remember there was another time, I think in that winter, maybe this year before, a year after, it was like Whitney Houston came out, and Seal came out, and Method Man came out. I think that was 99.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, oh, we really wanted to know what these numbers were so we knew how to feel about the performance of these records. And like, honestly, I think that's hurt us in a way, you know, even when we talk about equivalent units sold, like what does that even really mean, you know, at this point? And so it's like, oh, people talking about, oh, I remember, what's it, Sweetie? They're talking about, oh, only 14,000 people bought a record. I don't know if that's the exact number. And it's like, how you have 7 million fans and you only sold 14 million records. And it's like, this is a way for
14,000.
14,000.
Yeah.
And
you give her a lot of bail there.
Yeah. And it's a way for almost people who, it's ammunition for people who want to say, oh, this person isn't as important as you think they are because they only sold this many amount of records.
And that's why and I hate to bring it back to Drake, but that's why he feels like he's Michael Jackson status. Because whenever you equate Michael Jackson was by far one of the best performers ever. But he also sold the most records of all time and had the most hit records of all time. So Drake, just because he feels like he's entered a lot of records into this system and has a lot of hits, just because you have more hits than Michael Jackson does not put you on his level by far.
All right. So with that being said, you just mentioned Drake. At what point did you start realizing like something is not right with these numbers?
I never thought
talking about
that.
with Drake?
No, just period.
Just period?
Like, because, all right, I'll tell you when stuff started seeming fishy to me. I think it was the Carter 2. Was it the Carter 2 that when Wayne dropped the Carter 2 and it went platinum in a day?
That's Carter 3.
Carter 3, yeah. It sold 1 million copies in a day. I was like,
that was the first week's sound.
Yeah.
It sold 1 million copies.
I was like, man, something ain't right about that.
I don't know. That first single off that album was.
It made sense.
Yeah, it didn't.
Just like when Eminem did like 1-3.
Yeah,
it made sense.
At that time, it did not make sense to me, man. Just because, like, did you hear back in the day about record labels purchasing their own albums?
Yes.
So that's when I was like,
oh, this is a thing.
Yeah.
They used to there was this thing called like just scanning records, and like they were called punch out. Like if you've ever gone to like a used CD store and you see like a CD and it's got a hole punch through the barcode, like that's when that's a clue to the foolishness. Okay, that was something that was scanned but wasn't actually sold. Yeah, so there's that goes on, but once again, if you're not a part of a big enough machine, you can't. They're not gonna do
so
that.
That's
just
the label doing that.
Yes.
So that's that, and I feel that way. I've been feeling that way for quite some time about these streaming farms, et cetera, where you tell me that
that's the new Punch Out.
Yeah, where you tell me that Drake's album, it just came out today and it's streamed over 5 billion times.
Right.
What?
Well, okay, say there's 15 songs on the album.
I don't know what the actual numbers are, but
Yeah,
5 billion times, is that
Okay, that's a lot.
Is that like hyperbole or like is that like
Yeah, I think that's a little extra.
Yeah, because he has songs that have, like I saw somebody get a plaque, for 4 billion streams.
That was Big Boy and Outkast.
The thing is, it might not be that, but it's breaking records. It's breaking streaming records. You know what I mean? Like he'll release an album, and then every album he's released in the last 2 to 3 cycles, it's broken some type of streaming record. You know what I mean? And I'm like, man, these albums aren't that good.
Well, also people like us and people who are on the internet, like it sounds messed up, but there are people who are not Drake fans that will listen just so they could hate properly.
I understand that, but it's still enough.
It's still a lot of streams.
Yeah, I still don't think that's enough people to break a streaming record.
That's the thing about actually. So that's where we get the gift and the curse as far as buying these albums or scanning these albums. Because would this same thing be happening if we were counting on people buying these albums? Would he be this big star?
No, because I'm not going to buy a Drake album so I could get on here and hate it.
No, that's not.
And I'm not when I say hate, like I say that the same way there are people who do that with Jay-Z. Like, because the people who claim that they do not like Jay-Z, they got a microscope with that Jay-Z album. and sitting there going over the lyrics and the beats and the metaphors and similes because they want to be able to hate it in a way that makes sense.
Let's not say hate and say criticize.
Okay, criticize.
You know what I mean?
Because criticism is considered hate these days. Because there's going to be people
maybe to the consumer.
There are going to be people who hear what you said about Dr. Dre.
The artist.
Be like, oh, he hating.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I don't care.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't care. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's I'm just speaking my opinion. You do not have to agree.
Yeah.
But I must respect you and you must respect me.
Yeah. I think with everything you guys said, I kind of agree in general, like with the timeline. I'd never thought about what you mentioned with the SoundScan. I was going to correlate everything to essentially like when commerce became extremely relevant in hip hop and the capitalist element really kind of, but because it's really kind of a thing.
Oh, here we go again.
But I'm not going to go down that route. But I think like there's like different phases of it because I feel like it's almost like two versions of it. I feel like there's like that, and then there's when streaming happened as well. Mm-hmm. You brought up a really good question, Byron, about when was the first time you kind of noticed that the streaming numbers were like kind of crazy. And I feel like I've always known that the streaming numbers were questionable. Mm-hmm. Like ever since the very, very beginning, I've never trusted it at all. Mm-hmm. And it's just, it's very interesting. Yeah, I guess I don't really have anything else to say about that.
Well, and this is the thing. I want, anybody who's younger and who's only grown up in the streaming and SoundScan era, when they say, and this is no disrespect to anybody, when they say Nicki Minaj has more, Billboard hits than Aretha Franklin, you got to understand because of how streaming works. In a way, it's almost democratized the charts in a way that's just, didn't make sense to people who come from a different era. Because when Nicki Minaj puts out a record, every single song makes the Billboard Top 100. And there's some just like when Kendrick had 5-6 songs in the top 100. Aretha Franklin didn't have that opportunity.
Right.
She would put out an album, they put out a single. That would if that happened during the Michael Jackson Thriller days, he would have been 9 for 9 on number one songs.
Come on.
Okay? That's just how that would have worked. So I mean, it's just like eras in the NBA, when you could hand check, or when in the NFL, when the passing rules and what you could do at the line of scrimmage with the defensive backs, you can't really compare eras, and that's not fair to do. This, like, once again, technically, yes, Nicki Minaj has more hit songs than Aretha Franklin, and Katy Perry has more hit songs than Michael Jackson, but that's just because they get this chart every single song when in that era, a past era, you only got to chart the songs that were released by your record company as singles.
It kind of goes to, I'm gonna this word up, the devaluation.
Just devalue?
Yeah, the value of music, man.
No, de-evolution?
Yeah, I guess.
I think all those words are right.
People don't value people don't value music like they do no more because you're not invested in it as you did when you actually had to go spend your hard-earned money.
Yeah,
on
it's
it.
fast food era. So I mean, everything that we get is fast.
Yeah.
Ready, hot and ready. $5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to kind of like pinpoint when exactly this happened because I feel like it's been a systematic de-evolution, if you will, of this based upon just the way everything is kind of built. Right. When art turns into
commerce,
I mean, it's just what it is. It's just like you just have to follow the money in that aspect. And so when everybody is chasing numbers and chasing money, you just have to follow when that became really a thing. This is a hard thing to answer for me specifically because I still don't do things this way. I don't think anybody here really does. I don't value, like, Below the Heavens is one of the greatest albums ever. The Minstrel Show is one of the greatest albums ever. Like, these are albums that the Minstrel Show flopped.
Big time.
You know what I mean? Like, Little Brother is one of the most impactful groups of the 2000s.
Big time.
But, you wouldn't consider them a financial, commercial success by any means, So I think it depends on, like, it's an interesting conversation to have. It's a hard conversation to have for me because I never look at it intentionally from that angle.
Mm-hmm. So, and just one more example, just if you don't understand really what the democratization of these charts and how things move and scans and streams, that's how Mariah Carey has a #1 song every Christmas.
Every single year.
Because before there was streaming, you know, her song might have got played enough on certain Christmas channels that were about to flip formats to where it might creep back in the top 100, but it wasn't going to #1. You know, that's how Peggy Lee, Rocking Around the Christmas Tree, and Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas, are battling with all the new songs with Shabuzi and Kendrick Lamar. That's how that works.
Wasn't she 13 years old when she made that song? Or wait,
No.
No.
She wasn't even out when she was 13.
I'm talking about Brenda Lee.
Oh, I don't know.
Or what was the Christmas song that she has? Who was rocking around? Who sang?
That's Brenda Lee.
That is Brenda. Yeah.
Front teeth.
I heard she was 13 when she recorded that.
No, she don't sound like it. She sounds very
No, she
grown.
sounds like she's old and she smokes cigarettes.
Yeah.
But like, it's just what it
Look,
is.
it was 13. She's probably smoking cigarettes. It's back in the day.
I know, but Monica sounded a lot older than she did. Like, if you listen to some of them records, Monica didn't sound like she was like 14,
because of them white shoes they made her wear.
That's probably part of
it. They made her wear those head of the Usher board sandals, and that's why she sounded like that.
She had the voice like she had been cheated on at least.
Oh
10
yeah,
times.
she had been through something.
Yeah.
At least that's how the music sounded.
Thanks to our partners. Dr. Coleman of Coleman Dental is our go-to dentist. He's a longtime Indianapolis arts and music supporter located right in Broad Ripple. Our good friends at Indie CD and Vinyl operate one of the best record stores in North America. Shop new and used in their site or visit them in person. And the best way to support the New Old Heads is to visit our Patreon and become a member. All details on newoldheads.com.
We're mostly back.
Yo.
Yeah.
Mon frere.
Gobonator, would you like to fill in for Jay Moore?
Yeah. Hey, I thought he was going to say nah. He was cool.
He's like, yeah, let me on. What do you got to say, man?
I like that shirt, man.
Yeah, man.
You got to talk to the mic, man. You got to learn these things.
Yeah, I'm new to this.
You're not on the. Your head's all.
Yeah, there you go.
This is the Gobonator for everybody that wants to
Gobo.
knows the Gobo.
Nata.
Yeah, he's our intern now, huh?
Yeah, official like a whistle.
Yeah.
You know,
We
official.
got interns. That's crazy.
I know, right?
He got beats too for sale. He got beats for sale.
Hit them up.
Where can you find them?
They're pretty good.
Always. They're really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
pretty good.
perfect.
Perfect.
Where can they find you?
Instagram, YouTube.
What's your tag?
Oh, Gobonator.
What place did you get at the beat battle this year?
Second. Tied for second. Yeah.
What's up? All right. Thanks for filling in.
See you guys next time.
All right. Oh no, that felt like a David Letterman type of situation. I remember when your parents used to let you stay up late and catch a little glimpse of the late night shows.
Yeah.
Johnny Carson.
It seemed like
Here's Johnny.
that would be the last thing that came on before it was.
For the Star Spangled Banner.
Well, yeah, that's when
And then
TV went off.
Yeah.
Fat Joe, is he on an album run right now?
No, he put out an album this week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
I
then,
haven't
yeah,
heard shit.
okay. So
We're like, really?
Man, hey, so much stuff be dropping that like
I know, but yeah,
I
it's
mean,
like-
Larry June dropped a couple singles.
dropped a new video today.
Man, see, I can't keep up.
But it's
Yeah.
like, hey,
DMX dropped the album.
yeah, it's like a collection of his prayers.
Ninth Wonder dropped a whole album.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that one.
There's a lot going on.
For fourth quarter, like
And
fourth
I feel
quarter
like-
used to be different, but yeah.
I feel like I pay attention, and sometimes it's like I can't keep up. So
Yeah. We'll just give him Fat Joe's new album's called The World Changed on Me.
Okay. Well, he was recently, there's a interview. He sat down with the Breakfast Club. He said that artists are the most disloyal people you will ever meet. And it came from Charlemagne asking him if he would ever work with kind of a young artist in a particular sense. So let's play this and then let's talk about this a little
Would
bit.
you sign new artists now, Joe?
Sign. There we go.
I'm done. I'll put out average. You go back like, nah.
First of all, chances of an artist.
His no. Hold on. Let me play that again. His no.
Sign new artists now, Joe?
First of all, chances of an artist now or anytime being loyal are close to none. Don't know if you know my story. I'm from the projects for real.
I know it.
From the real projects. So to have a miracle, God say, you're blessed. We're going to give you a chance. Look, you're famous now. And you say, you know what? I'm going to bring some people out the hood with me and I'm going to give them an opportunity. You give them a chance, then they become millionaires and immediately the cannons get like this. It goes from, yo, loyal, this for life, this, and the cannons go at you. They say, I'm a boss now. I'm not talking about my experience. I'm talking about everybody's experience in hip hop. Moguls give hits away to artists that turned around and returned fire and said, yo, you never did nothing for me. You ain't this and that. So it's like, yo, you think I'm dealing with that at this day and age? I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah, I mean, he had a whole rap group, Terror Squad. Remember Cuban Link?
Yep. Triple Sace.
Yeah. He
Tony
literally,
Sunshine. I think Tony Sunshine still run with him.
He probably do, but specifically Cuban Link.
Yeah, he talked.
Is the tarnished link in the chain.
Oh,
I see.
Yeah.
Because
no pun intended.
No pun intended.
Wow, no pun intended.
That's a triple entendre. That's a triple entendre.
Yeah.
But nah, he's the one that got on Relish from the Terror Squad image and you know what I'm saying, the clout, and then decided to on him. So I mean Fat Joe is, like he said, he's really from the streets. He was a stick up kid. So he ain't really going for that.
Yeah.
And I don't know about just not with nobody, because I hate to say it, but having some youth around you is kind of like the Chang Tsung cheat code from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, it is.
You got to have some kind of youth around you in order to kind of help keep you centered and hip to what's going on. And I think that's why Dre don't be wanting to rap, because he don't really do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to have some kind of youth around you. The youth helps keep you youthful and helps you keep you
fresh.
You're gonna do this hip hop, then you do have to keep the youth.
You got to. That's hip hop is the what newest form of music, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's why Drake's still here.
Yeah.
Because like just like Shang Tsung, he pulls the spirit out of the character.
You ain't got to take the whole spirit, but you got to have some of that energy on you. You know what I'm saying?
And they girls. I'm sorry.
So, do you agree with the sentiments here that, I mean, granted, Joe can do whatever he wants. Let's that aside, right? But do you agree with the sentiment of being somebody like Joe not being interested in putting anybody on in that aspect?
It's hard to want to continue to do this because I think he's very right about how people.
I feel like I feel like he feels specifically
jaded.
tainted. Jaded, yeah.
Yeah, you feel jaded because, regardless of how you feel about anyone you put on, you got to understand that, like, if you put someone on, whether it's a joint venture or a production deal, you're going to be dealing with somebody who, yes, you gave an opportunity, but you see their money and you get a piece of their money before they do. And that's not personal. That's just how.
That's business.
That's record. That's how after a certain point, look, as you know, I know this goes into the R&B world, but I remember I was hearing Nate Morris from Boyz II Men. He was talking about the opportunity he got with Michael Bivins and how he's so grateful. But then he did say, it's kind of crazy that Michael Bivins owns 50% of Boyz II Men's publishing. And so at a certain point, and that's not Michael Bivins doing bad business. That's just
good
what it
business.
is. That's good business. And so
you got to do it to somebody else.
You got to, everybody's, if you sign a / big record company, production company, joint venture, vanity deal, that means for every / somebody's getting money before you.
Yeah, it's a predatory business.
And, you're going to start feeling some kind of way towards the person that you feel like put you on. And so, like, I feel like Fat Joe, what he's basically vocalizing here is like, I just rather not. It's just not worth it at this point, especially when nobody is buying or selling anything.
Experience,
yeah,
too.
and experience. Like, so Fat Joe's been out, since 93, 94?
And he actually, Fat Joe put his career on the side because he wanted Pun to make it.
Right.
He seen something in Pun and pretty much brokered Pun's deal and just pretty much pushed him to the forefront.
You think
that's why a lot of people think Pun came before him. He was out before, you know what I'm saying?
He had like 2 albums before. I remember the first time I heard Pun, he was still calling himself Big Punisher.
Yeah.
On the first 60 Minutes of Funk Master Flex mixtape that was on Loud Records.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this guy's going to be a problem. But Fat Joe introduced him to the game.
Yeah. But it can go, so the thing about it is, so I understand his position, but yeah, somebody like MC Search. I know people give Nas a hard time because of the Jay-Z line about
Searchlight
Publishing. He actually hooked Nas up. So if you go look at the situation and how he ended up on Searchlight Publishing, Nas had a shitty record deal, and he talked to Search about it, and Search was like, well, your deal is whack. Search was signed to a similar deal and told his record label that Nas was signed to, like, hey, this is the same deal that I signed back in '88, and it's a deal. They didn't want to switch it. So in turn, Nas signed his publishing to Searchlight, and that in turn made him, well, it puts MC Search in a position to make sure that his samples were clearing, all that stuff, yada, yada, yada. Not to get into too much of that, but somebody like that looked out for Nas's deal and made sure that he was eating and he was a millionaire when it first released, when Illmatic came out. Everybody's not like that. But in the same token, these artists think they're bigger than what they are. A lot of the newer people think they're bigger than what they are because they want a piece of it. They want to be that guy. But they don't know how to sit down and wait and actually see what happens and let it unfold. They just want it immediately without the work.
You know, as much as people talk about how greedy Jay-Z is, you know, at least for the U.S. release, when it was time to put out Is That Your Chick, they made that a Memphis Bleak record.
Yeah.
When anything, they wound up putting that, even though it was a Jay-Z song, they wound up putting it, I think, on Beanie Siegel's record.
It was.
And what's crazy is, like, if you got the European version of Volume 3, those were both Jay-Z records. But when you're talking about United States of America, much bigger marketing territory. And it's like, okay, let's go ahead and give this to Bleak so we can get him on, you know, the radio mix show and, you know, 106 in Park or whatever. And then let's do this for, even though anything didn't quite work. I think they thought they had a Hard Knock Life too. And it was just like, no, the moment has passed for that. But like, that's the kind of alley-oop sometimes if you're the big dog that you try to throw to the people you're trying to bring up. And there's more examples of that. I'm just thinking the two of the most obvious ones.
Yeah.
Do you think Pun and Fat Joe had issues before he passed? Because it's rumblings that they did.
All I've heard from is his kids and his wife that say things like that. Pun's not here to speak for himself, so I don't know. I never heard anything like that.
Yeah, me either. I don't know. The Fat Joe thing. I don't know if I supremely agree with the idea of. I feel like when you're in like a place, a good place, I don't want to say there's an obligation necessarily to put people on. But I kind of do feel like there's a little bit of an obligation when you're in a particular role to look out and to help
pass
people.
The torch.
Yeah, pass the torch. Like if you're gonna be in said position, then do that. If you're gonna be this person that's here doing these things, then you should be actively doing that. Or you need to just remove yourself from the situation and give it to somebody else who is going to actively do those things. And that's how I've always approached all of this stuff that I've always done. And I just feel like that's just kind of the best way to move about it. Now, granted, I'm not Fat Joe, you know what I mean? But at the same time, like, that's typically how I operate. And I don't know if I really agree with the idea of, like, I don't feel like it's somebody's, I guess I would even take it a step further. I don't think it's somebody's obligation to be loyal to you just because
you gave him an opportunity.
Just because you gave him an opportunity. Like, I don't want anybody to feel like because I give them an opportunity that they owe me something. Like, I give people opportunities in the things that I do because I feel like they deserve them, and then they can take them and run with them. That's it. Like, I don't want. I don't know. I just kind of that kind of sits weird with me.
No, I feel you on that.
What's the reason why you did it? You only did it for gain.
For sure.
Yeah. If your heart wasn't really in it, you was doing it to get something out of it.
Yeah.
I think people feel a certain type of way if you want to discount what I did for you, and then all of a sudden I'm this bad guy.
Yeah.
Kind of like how the Game in 50 Cent situation has always been weird to me because Game's album, the documentary, fire, but that could have been 50 Cent's second album. And he set you up. He set you up to win, and then for some odd reason, you went on a record, or not a record, but a radio show, and start talking crazy about the situation. When you weren't, I mean, you're signed to 50, you signed to Dre, you're signed to Eminem. I mean, there's a whole pecking order of people that you signed to, and you're still put in a position to win, and you still talking greasy.
It's that exact thing that Jay Moore said, though. That's why I said 50 situation. That's who I was talking about, him in Game. When he mentioned, like, look, yeah, you signed to this artist, you got a production deal with this person, you got another person here, and all these people are seeing money before you. So I'm gonna feel some type of way about you now. You know what I mean? And on top of that, you getting publishing because you wrote some of these songs. You know what I mean? So you seeing all this money. Of course, I'm getting the shine, but what's the shine when my kids need food? You know what I mean?
Do you want this album or not, though?
The album I already got, and I could do it again now.
Well, yeah.
Well, he didn't.
He didn't.
I mean,
he's got good albums. I take that back. I'm not saying that he ended up being a terrible artist. He has good albums,
but he ain't got another.
He doesn't have another documentary.
No, not even close.
Jesus Piece was really good.
I thought Doctor's Advocate was good. Was really solid. You know, considering like he went from having the backing of Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, and Eminem for him to still come out and have to do this whole thing on his own.
Was One Blood on Doctor's Advocate, or was that on Red?
That was Doctor's Advocate.
Yeah. So he came out swinging.
Yeah. So can't hate on it. Yeah, hate it or love it.
Okay. What about modern day? Do you guys think that this is? We've talked pretty much about, historically speaking. Do you think it's any better or worse nowadays as far as the loyalty and respects to these regards, or
there's less to go around now?
I mean,
okay, yeah, I put you on, but like the money's in the brand deals. I'm not giving you a piece of my, McDonald's or Macy's or whatever brand deal I got. I heard Busta Rhymes rhyming, I think maybe T-Mobile, Walmart. Yeah, Walmart. It's like, okay, Star don't see none of that money.
I guess I just can't. I just can't relate to that. Like, I can't relate to the idea of like the
big dog,
the scarcity mindset. When it comes to that.
Well, I don't think it's a thing too much no more, because I think the way the business models are set up now, you got to do it on your own before you can even get to that point where somebody else brings you in. So. Right. Like they got to see you doing it for yourself before they even think to align themselves with you. Yeah. So by then you already making the money. So what point does it make me what sense does it make for me to align myself with you, where you taking money out of my pocket?
And then the only situation that you have now, to your point, is as an artist, I'm able to do things outside of this record label. Like, so take like a Lil Yachty, who was signed to Creative Control or whatnot. He's had deals with Target. He's had a pizza
Sprite
in the store. Sprite. He's had Nike,
Axe bodies, like body wash.
Yeah, so he's leveraging his celebrity and what he's built off of that past the music. So people have the opportunity now to look past the music and like, well, I kind of built myself up before I got here, but now I can use it for other things, because the label is only going to take music stuff from you. They're not going to take the endorsements that you get elsewhere.
If you're not a 360.
Yeah, but right. You're the 360, they want all that.
Unless you got like a crazy good 360 deal. And some people do. Drake is one of those individuals.
He's a fan.
I mean, but I just saw something where all these celebrities, they just don't make the money you think they make.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about how they might be broke, but comparatively speaking, hey, they're probably doing better than me.
Touche.
The super talented Doechii, whom has recently released her critically acclaimed Alligator Bites Never Heal project, shared on The Breakfast Club how important dropping a full-length project was for her. So let's listen to this. Play, please. Oh, wrong space bar.
We were dropping singles and time had gone by, and I was trying to discover who I was musically through singles, and I couldn't discover that through a full body project. And I was like, I need to drop a mixtape and get something out so that I can have a project to measure up to. You have artists that are single artists, and then you have artists that are like conceptual album artists. Yeah. I think that I'm that type of artist.
Absolutely.
And I couldn't see that because I had never dropped a project before. So it was like 4 years went by and I got 10 singles out. I was like, listen, we got to let something go as soon as possible.
So my question to this is this a particular path that all artists should go down?
No.
And what you don't think that all artists should go down the artistry path? That they should go down to creating projects as opposed to singles.
No, they shouldn't.
And then my other thing is there really such a thing as a singles artist, or is it just chasing commerce?
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
No, it's chasing commerce. The single artist, and you see that more or less with. All right, and I hate to pick on this woman, but Cardi B would be probably the commerce. Did she have a project full of singles?
Yes. Her first album, she hit a home run with that.
Yeah, but she's continued to drop singles since that first album, and they be hit or miss. She's the exact person that Doechi's speaking to, you know what I mean? Where you dropping singles, maybe one or two of them hit, because, WAP hit.
Yeah.
But she didn't have nothing to follow up with it.
Well, this is where I shoot Cardi a little bit. It's been a recent, because you understand, WAP, Up, and Money were all hit records.
Money did not hit.
Money hit.
We was there.
I mean, it was a long time ago. It seems like it
yeah.
Okay, let's give it Up and WAP. Those are 2 number 1 songs.
Yeah.
But they weren't on any album.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that's where, you know, a lot of artists saw how she was able to maintain with no full album out. And there are a lot of artists who've been going that route. Why would I put out a full album if I can keep my name out there? Like, at this point, it's been, what, 5-6 years with no Cardi album?
It depends. Are we talking about artistry? Are we talking about commerce? You know, that I think that's the art angle that I'm bringing forward.
Okay,
right?
well-
Like, is there really such thing as a singles artist, or is it just chasing commerce? Because I think anybody that just drops singles is just chasing commerce. They're not making
So
art
that's the
for the
same
sake.
thing then.
But that's what I would have thought about Doechii, because I didn't realize
early on, for sure.
I didn't know I was hearing Doechii records because it just sounded like everything. You know, when I hear
that is exactly my point, because what she said here is she's like, I was just dropping singles, and then I realized I had to go down this path of making an album because I had to find what my sound was like and who I was going to be.
When I hear that song, What It Is, What's Up, I didn't know that was Doechii. I just thought it was it could have been anybody.
Yeah.
But, you know, I basically was introduced to Doechii when we started playing her records here.
Yeah, we're still getting comments about that.
Exactly. So like I'm not ashamed to say that. It just is what it is. I have to be around so the records that I heard with JT from the City Girls or whatever, these things that were on more of a pop level, they weren't special at all. So I didn't think much of them, or I didn't want to do any research to find out who Doechii was. You know, it sounded like everything else. You know, so when she started being on her journey of album, creating a cohesive and definitive piece of art, that's when I picked up, you know.
I guess that's kind of
So I think
kind
that's
of my point. I guess.
But Doechi's special.
For sure.
She can do that.
Yes.
I don't think most of these artists out here are special.
See, I think
that's why I don't call them artists most
right.
of the time.
I think the whole commerce and single artist is the exact same thing. Because if you're a commerce artist or a singles artist, you're only doing it for monetary gain.
I guess that's again my point.
Yeah. When you're she's speaking from wanting to be an artist.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere
like the fact that you had to say artist twice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I guess that's my point. Like, you shouldn't have to say an artist.
You shouldn't.
You know
It's the difference between being an artist and an act.
Yes. So when
acts are just the acts are the ones that just give you the
Milli
singles.
Vanilli.
Yeah.
Be like,
well, they had a whole album that was actually good, but they weren't actually singing. They were the face of it. They were the face of it.
That was the act, though.
That was the act.
That was the act.
Yeah.
But I think in her situation, she didn't want to be pigeonholed as someone that only made singles.
Right.
For commerce.
Right.
She wants to be viewed for her artistry as somebody that can actually put a cohesive project together and give it to you, and you actually rock with me versus you might have heard me. And I hate that we have to always bring this up, but the social media influence is very strong when it comes to these singles.
Right.
A lot of people are shooting for just trying to get a single that goes off on the social media. What's the name? Not Boss Man D-Lo. It was Boss Man D-Lo that has stated that he only makes songs that are a minute and 30 seconds long, right? Based off of that algorithm and people's attention span. Because they can't hold people long enough, and he knows people want to move on
because they're not good.
But you know it worked because I think Boss Man D-Lo got a platinum record, so he did it. He figured out
he accomplished
or song, whatever. But like I because they put out the whole thing for
his album came out last week, and it's not getting as good fanfare as his singles did.
I just know like the Billboard or not Billboard, but Sounds whoever does all that. I know I talk about it extensively. They put out this whole thing, and they just put it out today or yesterday of who sold platinum, who sold gold. And I saw Boss Man D-Lo's name. I was like, oh, okay. Just because I'm not up on it and I don't care. Like, clearly it's registering with somebody.
Yeah.
Somebody get in with me.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's also how you introduce to the artist. You know what I mean? Because you said you didn't hear the first time you heard Doechii was through those singles. You know what I mean?
Like I said, I've been listening to Doechii for I don't know how long now. That I was like, oh, that's Doechii.
So first time I heard Doechii was on Isaiah Rashad's "What You Said."
Okay.
And she was shining on that. She had the best verse on that song.
Right.
So I was like, who is that? I need to hear more from her. You know what I mean? So that made me, I was more invested from that point that I wanted to hear more from her. And then I heard those singles, and the singles didn't really do for me what I was expecting. It didn't do what I heard from that first time I heard her. And then I heard the project, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's who I heard.
But you had to be, there's a certain level of investment you had to be like, oh, I want to hear the whole project. There are people that put out a bunch of singles. They work for the places that have the loudest speakers, but it doesn't make me want to listen to the whole project.
I think that's the kind of the thing that I keep trying to like get to is that like I think like the approach and how you get to the singles, you can drop a really dope album like Doechii did with a whole bunch of dope singles on it and present it in a particular type of manner, how she released her singles, and you can reach the people that you need to reach in that manner. I don't think you have to abandon singles, I guess is what I'm saying.
No.
But she crafted an album, and it's just in the marketing. Like, it's in the marketing aspect. But if you are just chasing singles, I feel like that is a very poor way to grow as an artist, because...
Or even to sell yourself.
You'll never have a good album if you approach it like that.
Yeah, because truth be told, I mean, and as an artist today, people have to buy into your story. And if all you're doing is creating singles, you're not creating the story. You know what I mean?
That's for the people that actually pay attention to music, though.
Most people, but that's what I'm saying. If you want people to buy into you, if you want any staying power, you need that. You know what I mean? If you just want to be here and get your money and gone tomorrow, okay, just keep making singles.
Unfortunately, surface level success is
good enough for
too successful as far as that approach nowadays.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, people don't really care about your story as long as you show up and you fresh and you put on something I can shake my ass to or go holler at this chick to in the club. I really don't care about nothing else about you. That's what's special about artists like this, though. Certain artists, they don't feel fulfilled from that type of situation. Other artists, they're like, I just want to get in, get my off, be fresh and fly, and then figure out something else. This is her passion, so she wants to do it a different way. You know, everybody's attention spans are different now, so it doesn't necessarily apply to a lot of these artists now as far as people wanting to be invested in actually who they are.
Yeah, I'll be the old man yelling at a cloud this week because I don't consider, like, if you're truthfully not like invested in the artistry aspect, you're only chasing it from a commerce, then you are just, you're a product. You're a product. You're not really an artist. And it's super annoying being an artist just to conflate those two ideas.
Okay. So given your point that you just made and our conversation earlier about the Dre and Snoop album and them being overproduced, having teams of writers and producers coming to create this product, could you say that Snoop now is a product as opposed to an artist?
I wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't say that particularly for this project because I feel like they came together to create something, like, because they don't need the money. So like, because they're approaching it from like, it's the two artists, it's like the approach of how they're doing it. Like they're not doing this to be like, hey, let's do this and drop these singles in this particular. No, they're like, no, let's do something together because we want to do something together.
I want to make some music.
Yeah, but they're obviously both products, but Snoop is the biggest product in hip hop. But I think at the same time, like, it's all in the approach and how
it's still love. There's some love there. It's not just there to just make a check because I'm already got a check.
Exactly.
Because quite honestly, they took, especially Snoop, he probably took time away from things where he could really make some money to do this record.
When I was watching that Complex video of them in the studio, like, Snoop was invested in sounding good.
Yeah.
Like, I could see, like, he would like do something and he would look at Dre and he was like, was that it? And Dre's be like, no, do it again this way. He'd be like,
I don't believe you. Yeah.
And like, he would go back and you could tell, like, I've been in those situations with artists. Like I've had artists look at me in the same manner. Like, Snoop was invested in sounding good on that. And so like, I think that's just different. Like, he is an artist. Sure, he's a product now, but like, there's nuance there.
I think so. I think that ultimately is the goal, right? To become a product.
I don't though.
I don't know.
That's the difference though. We're speaking from what we've seen coming up.
How many artists do you know remain? Only person that I could say that has remained an artist is, I'm not the only person. This is the first person that comes to mind. Andre 3000.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't say that though.
I don't think that you like don't have to like make money to not be an artist.
I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying he's staying true to the art.
Is he?
Yeah, because
I think he is. To himself.
Yeah. I mean, if you're just gonna put out a flute album and you know everybody wants to hear a rap album from you,
I think it's bigger. I think it's bigger than an Andre 3000 type of situation though. When we're talking about people being true to their artistry. We can say the same thing about who you just said, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. I can say the same thing about Method Man. I mean, these are people that aren't putting out stuff just to be putting it out. They're not putting out garbage and fast food.
Common.
Yeah,
right.
Common and Pete Rock. That's not. They're not thinking. Okay, how can we freak this into a McDonald's or a General Motors deal?
Yeah. They're not thinking of it like that. Whereas the new formula now is to think of it as, I just need to get one song out here and I'll figure it out after that. They don't even care. It's people that probably just start rapping last week and are going to be on in 6 months.
Yeah.
You think they care about being an artist?
Not really, because you've got to struggle a little bit out here. Like
no, I mean, because you're not thinking about the definitive work. You think, look, when you got to think about brand deals and be like, how can I change this into a Church's Chicken jingle?
If you're thinking about
like that's what it is at this point.
If you're thinking about brand deals before you're thinking about being good, it's just okay. I can't relate. I don't know.
They just want to have an interview with Castanet or Mr. Beast or one of them popular streamers or just show up somewhere like that is their end goal. Their end goal isn't the music. Yeah. Where she's telling you like, I'm here for this music. So I want to figure out how to put together albums and structure these albums. I'm on TDE. Kendrick is, you know what I'm saying? The head, well, he ain't on TDE anymore. Right. But anyway, he set precedent at TDE. Right. Along with the other artists that are signed to TDE. There really isn't a weak link on TDE. Right. Like you can find what you want there. Look, so I think she's doing the right thing.
It just comes down to Doechii. You know, I've talked about how some people would rather be famous than great. Doechii wants to be great, and if being famous is a byproduct of that, then great. Yep. But you know, when you listen to her project, that's not about. Once again, there's nothing. Maybe there is, and I just don't hear it. You know, I don't see her saying, "Hey, this is how I can sell some the new sauce for chicken nuggets at McDonald's."
No, I make the art and then they find the label finds a way to do that.
Yeah, like, I mean that's
place it after you.
And you know what? God, if they find a way, if McDonald's starts selling, fried alligator bites, I hope Doechii gets a deal.
Get some.
Them alligator bites gonna be a little suspect.
Yeah, I don't want to.
It's crazy because Saweetie, I mean, she
McDonald's meal.
She had a McDonald's meal. She's nowhere near the artist that Doechii is. Right.
Not that we want to pit women against each other.
No,
but we're just saying.
I'm just speaking from an artistic point of view.
That was a great pickup.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is just an artistic point of view. And this is not discrediting her, but she does not have the same type of sauce, for lack of better words, when it comes to this music.
I like that.
That Doechii has.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But
so
I think the artist always reveal themselves.
That's debatable.
Really?
That's not debatable at all.
I'm not. I'm talking not necessarily the actual art, but the being able to sell them.
Her Q,
she's been very quiet.
Her Q score.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's been very quiet.
She just dropped 2 albums, 2 songs that are on the radio right now.
But how long did that take?
It took a while, but the thing is, that's why you see her having McDonald's meals and stuff now. You know what I mean?
That was.
She got the record with LL.
I think ultimately, man, and this is unfortunately, this is gonna bring up a whole nother conversation, man. But what's the Rhythm and Flow, the show on Netflix?
Netflix thing.
I haven't even seen it yet.
Don't waste your time, man. The level of talent this season was it fell off way from the first season, man.
That's what's the name won that a while back.
Sir's brother.
Sir's brother.
Yeah, D Smoke.
D Smoke. Yeah.
There's no D Smokes this year, huh?
No. Watch it for yourself so you can see. But I think ultimately, when watching that, I think they were looking for artists they could sell as opposed to somebody that was actually dope.
Yeah, I hate that, man. I just hate it.
And I think that's just tying in my point about the difference between Doechii and Saweetie, man.
I feel like if the artist is good enough with the right amount of artist development, you can sell almost anybody.
But the AR situation don't happen anymore, unfortunately.
They do on TDE though. He's been on there for how long? Like 4 years or something.
But she came out before because this isn't her first situation on the Breakfast Club. She had another interview, I want to say 2 years ago, and that's when she was dropping the singles.
I see.
And she figured it out, but she was going through it too, which she addressed on this album. So
yeah.
So that actually gave her some material to work with to create this album. So I mean, this happens. It's almost like she had a situation where she recreated herself before people even knew she was.
Yeah,
because you would have seen her at one point in time, but oh, okay, she's cool. And now it's like, this ain't even the same chick, but it is the same chick.
Right.
Because they heard something in her then, and she just was kind of following that formula, trying to figure something else out.
Yeah. Shouts to Doechii.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to the album for the first time, mostly today, which is kind of crazy.
Good album.
Yeah. I still got half of it to go through, but the first half is really good. I'm so far behind. Well, cool. It's late. We got to wrap things up.
Yeah.
So, thanks, brother, to the night, as always, for coming on.
I appreciate you guys. Hopefully, you don't get too pissed off by some of the opinions we had on this show, man.
Hey, man.
Nah.
But if you did,
you. It happens. It happens.
Hey,
respectfully, though.
Yeah.
All right, let me hit this button.
All right, you know the vibes. Bringing down the band is the hub. New Old Heads is the movement. Definitely check us out and give us a rating, 1 to 5. Give us a 5. If you give us anything less than that, you're probably hating. Once again, we will see you next week, or you're going to hear us next week. Regardless, this is the vibe. New Old Heads. Let's go.
Bye.
In a minute.